There you go. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to There This Is Gray, your weekly episodic podcast where we, a couple of average Joes, tell you guys exactly how to fix that fucked up mess of a life you got. I'm your host, Jonathan Esther,
This is Alone in the Dark.
and hopefully we'll be joined by Puppet Master in the near future. But in the meanwhile, I'm sure you guys won't worry if it's just the two of us tangoing here. All right, so I assume you had a topic to start off there, Alone in the Dark?
Yeah, I just got one. Why the fuck are you smacking, man? What the hell's going on here?
There's candy in my mouth. My bad. Go ahead.
Candy.
It'll be done.
Anyways,
It'll be done in a second.
first off, the first thing I want to tell everybody, and it's on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
But my bad. I actually started playing the video, and all of a sudden you were talking again. But first off, what I want to tell everybody is if you go to our Facebook page, and once I get it to work, I'm not sure while it work, it'll be in the comment section of this video. But fucking Slow Chemicals' mother is doing a breast cancer walk, and she's asking for donations to raise money for breast cancer. We'll have the link on there, and we'll have it on our Facebook page. So if you can spare a dollar here, I know there's a lot of good places to give your money these days, but if you can spare a dollar, she'll definitely appreciate that. Okay. On to the show. I'm having a big issue with fucking fanboys right now. Okay. Now, it's been a constant ongoing issue, but one of them that just started up again was with this Suicide Squad promo video getting put it up. Okay. Now, in my opinion, at least, I think that promo video is excellent. Promo video could be incredible and a movie could suck, okay? But whoever did that video, great fucking job. I love how bullets were fucking impacting to the beat of the fucking music. Beautiful, okay? But we have, again, a new Joker. I mean, we kind of have to, don't we?
Unfortunately, yes. The other one is dead.
Now, the issue I have, and I kind of understood it back in the Dark Knight times, because when they first named Heath Ledger, I mean, he was coming hot off of Brokeback Mountain, if I remember. And to be honest, I couldn't envision it at all myself, okay? People said Heath Ledger, and I was like, what? I've never watched the movie, but all I know about is he was a gay cowboy, But beyond that, all his movies were, like little romantic fucking, almost teenager movies, shit like that. I couldn't see it, okay? And then he went on to the fucking movie and killed it.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
But
that really, made me think afterwards. Damn, maybe I shouldn't pass judgment until I really see a performance. Okay?
Yeah.
Another one for that. There's another movie that just came out that was a lot like. It hasn't come out yet. But another one where I had to tell myself that too is Batman versus Superman. Who the fuck is Batman on there?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Okay. People, they said that, and again, I was like, Ben Affleck. What? I mean, you're talking about fucking. What's his wife's name? J-Lo's wife.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like Batman to me. But relented and said the promos I've seen, he looks decent. I mean, he looks the part. He definitely, in my opinion, makes a good fucking Bruce Wayne. Okay, if he's gonna translate into how he works as Batman, we'll see. Okay, I really didn't think Christian Bale was all that great of a Batman. The voice was fucking ridiculous. Okay. His looks definitely fit the part. I don't know if anything else really did, but I'm not complaining. I love the movies. I fucking definitely, every dollar I spent on was worth it. But now we have the new one. Okay, was it Jared Leto, right?
Jared Leto, yeah.
Now, Leto. Again, just hearing that name does not strike me as this would be the guy I would pick for Joker. Okay, But that promo video, every scene of him in it, he looked the fucking part. You know what I mean? And I think every Joker, every actor who does Joker is going to put a little bit of their own spin on it. Okay, Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson's Joker was Jack Nicholson. I mean, Jack Nicholson plays Jack Nicholson in every fucking movie he does. Okay, still did
Yeah.
great. I loved it. You know, fucking Heath Ledger did his own spin on it. Who is the classic Joker? You remember, like way back in the day?
Oh, that I know who you're talking about. Oh, Jesus Christ. I know who you're talking about. It's a long time ago from the TV show.
Yeah, I can't remember it. I can't. Whatever. I'll look it up while we're doing this. But he was totally different from Jack Nicholson, who's totally different from Heath Ledger. All of them, I think, did a great fucking job. Okay.
Yeah.
But when this promo video came out, which again I thought was an awesome promo video, you have a bunch of fucking fanboys throwing fits about Jared Leto for Joker. I'm not even gonna watch this movie. Fuck this movie. No, this is bullshit. That's not how anybody envisions Joker. What? Okay, number one, it's a fictional character. Okay, let's not forget that. Number two, the Joker changes, and correct me if I'm wrong, freaking Jonathan Esther. The Joker's attitude and demeanor changes depending on which version they're using. The Killing Joke Joker is different from the classic Joker. You know?
Yeah. The only tag that sticks between all of them is their hatred of Batman and the mania. But you're right. There's slight variations in each iteration. Some are a little more like fun and whimsical, whereas others are more, just psychopathic, pretty much.
Yeah, and they changed it, and I think what a lot of people are getting hung up on is Jared Leto's Joker is not the mainstream Joker everybody's used to.
Yeah.
You know, Suicide Squad is not an extremely popular fucking series. Okay, it has its following, of course, but it's not hugely fucking popular. Where everybody who doesn't read comic books will know it offhand. I've never read a single Suicide Squad fucking comic book. Okay. But people need to, especially these fucking fanboys, because guess what, guys? I don't even know how big of a fucking market fanboys are for these goddamn movies. I mean, I don't think these people, the actual serious comic book readers, make up a very big percentage of who's going to go see these freaking movies.
I mean, yes and no. I wouldn't say immediately that they're not the biggest percentage, but I mean, actually, I'd go with you on that. Yeah, I'd say they're not the biggest percentage.
I mean, so making these demands or throwing this, you guys don't have much weight to throw around. Okay. Now, if the movie comes out and it's a fucking travesty, kind of like Avatar.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I totally understand if you're gonna fucking pounce on people. Okay. And I think like Avatar fans of the show had really good reason for being pissed about that fucking movie. I mean, they didn't even pronounce the main character's name right.
Correct,
let alone freaking anything else well in that movie. I think
what was actually brutal about that wasn't just that they didn't pronounce the name right, even though it's a live TV show. Whereas the comic books usually come from a comic book page, so you can futz around a little bit with voices because there's no voice; it's all written. So the voice you hear is the voice you create. But that was a show that already had an animated show with specific enunciation of the complex names they were using. Yeah. And then they just went and butchered. Like no one clearly didn't put any effort into the script at all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, And I mean, I'm not a huge M. Night Shyamalan fan. Like when he did his first couple movies, I thought it was interesting because of his fucking twist ending. It was a really cool thing he did. But after a while, it was just the same old shit over and over and over again.
Exactly.
So I'm not a huge fan of the guy, and I think if you look at his ratings, I'm pretty sure somebody posted it, but he spiked and then fell off. So I'm not alone in that goddamn opinion.
Well, that's the problem with twist endings. That'll work the first or second time. It's like a jump scare at the same spot every day.
Yeah.
The first few times, yeah, but then after that, it's coming every single time. So you're either a fan of that kind of thing and you go waiting for that moment. Kind of like people who listen to dubstep and always need the song to have the drop or else it's not a song.
Yeah.
Or or you are a person that's just like, okay, that's kind of a gimmick. I don't have any surprise going into this movie because I know I can pretty much ignore anything in the first 3/4 of the movie because at the very end, it's going to be something else.
Exactly, man. And that's kind of my thing. I think it's really interesting. And of course, don't think that they're doing any favor. Like there was some people talking about it on here, like, hey man, at least they're making us a movie, you know, at least they're appeasing it. They're not doing this shit for you guys. They just think it's gonna sell a lot. You know, yeah. They're not doing anybody any favors, okay? But at least give it a chance to see the performance before you base all your assumptions off promos. I mean, we've had movies in the past that, I mean, probably most movies actually, that the promos were totally not characterizing the movie at all. That's a good thing to be bitching about, you know? Yeah. But don't pretend like you know the whole movie and the entire character off a fucking promo video. You can't bitch about promos not portraying the movie correctly and pretend you know everything about it because you saw a fucking 60-second promo video.
Well, that kind of, yeah, I see what you're saying and I agree with it. But I also think taking that power away from the fanboys might give a little, well, not really giving credence to the fact that the fanboys should be saying this, might give a little too much power to the director. Because granted, if memory serves me right now, most movies that do that come out pretty okay. And then like you're right in that. Let me give you an example of why you're absolutely right. There are moments like in the new Deadpool movie coming out, they're trying to sign a petition to make it a PG-13 movie instead of a rated R movie like it is, because it's a superhero movie. Jesus. But the fanboys immediately came out going, if you listen to anybody making that request, they clearly know nothing of this character. Because if you read any of the comics, this character was rated R from the very beginning. Yeah. This wasn't like a twist to make it edgier. It was always an adult product, maybe watered down more towards teens, but we can't do that on a movie screen. And because in the comic book, you can do innuendos of sorts and all that, but even the innuendos on TV are just going to be way too much. So there's no way to cover that up. But there are also instances where that stuff matters. Like you get a movie like Kick-Ass, right? Kick-Ass it sold decently, but the original, if I remember correctly, what was the original story for that Kick-Ass stuff? I could have sworn I remember them saying that they were going to make a more tamed down version of it so it could sell more before fans kind of threw an uproar and said that it's more of a mature comic. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. By and large, fanboys, really fans of anything, tend to go a little overboard every time something is announced that's not, you know, textbook coda of their fandom.
You know what I'm wondering? Tell me they didn't put that freaking petition on the White House website?
No, well, is that change.org?
No. That's just like a public.
Yeah, no, they put it on change.org, yeah.
Because I'm getting pretty irritated that people have been asking some stupid shit on there. That was not saying that thing was used for what it should have, but it was put up at least with decent intentions. And people post stupid shit on there all the fucking time about shit not even relevant to the government. Like, here's one: ban Justin Bieber from the freaking US. Number one, are you fucking retarded? Like, okay, don't get me wrong, I don't like the kid's music either. Every time I see him in the news, he seems like a freaking retard. But if we're banning retards from the US, we're gonna go from 318 million to like 18 million real quick, okay? So keep this shit off there. Use it for serious shit, you know? I don't get it, man. You know, here's a freaking actual White House petition. Explode a nuclear bomb over Syria to completely deter ISIS threat. That's a genius idea, guys.
Jesus. Oh my God. This little side conversation of us reminds me of a comedian I listened recently on the British radio show, and the comedian was like, you know, whenever I see stuff like this, his example was even more brutal. his example was, imagine being Angela Merkel. For those who don't know, Angela Merkel is the chancellor, what we'd consider the president of Germany. And she's a woman, throwing it out there, but whatever. So Angela Merkel was one of the first people to basically say, no, we need to be compassionate. We need to be caring. We need to let these immigrants in. We're going to take these immigrants. So she took these immigrants, and New Year's Day, allegedly, a bunch of gathered immigrants allegedly assaulted a bunch of women. You know, imagine being put in that position. You did the right thing, right? You were human. You were fantastic. You were kind, and it bites you in the ass that hard.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me think, like the comedian was saying, who the hell would want this job? Who would look at the resume like deal with world-ending events, terrible disasters, know that at least half of the country will always fight against your beliefs? You know, yeah, I think I'm the person to tackle that problem. Who the hell thinks that way?
Dude, and think about this. I mean, I was watching some shitty movie while I was playing pool. It had the guy. I can't remember. I can't remember who the fucking main character was. I can't remember his name. But he's a Secret Service agent, and the White House gets attacked, and like fucking the president, and a bunch of important people.
Either you're talking about White House Down, or what was the other one called?
White House Down sounds like it.
Yeah, White House Down was the one.
No, that's not it. I'm looking at it.
Then you're talking about the other one.
Olympus Has Fallen, maybe?
Olympus Has Fallen. That's it. Yes.
Yeah, I was watching that, and at one point, like, they pull out the freaking nuclear football, you know, to the bad guy. I don't want. Oh, fuck that movie. That movie's old as fuck. I'll spoil it if you ain't seen that shit. They take the fucking nuclear football to nuke some shit, right? To set off all our nukes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how crazy that is. Like, and this is what we should think about whenever we're electing a president. Okay. Trump, okay, or Hillary Clinton, really even Bernie Sanders, okay. I think I would trust him out of the three.
Yep.
But imagine Trump, even if you think Trump's a fucking great guy, if you're planning on electing him, which if you are, please unsubscribe from our channel. But anyways,
please don't. Please don't.
Imagine of all people, you give this fucking idiot from The Apprentice the fucking codes to our nuclear arsenal. Our nuclear weapons are enough, even though we've reduced them by a whole lot since the Cold War, they're enough to destroy the world like 5 or 6 times over. Okay?
Quite true.
And you're handing, that's something everybody needs to fucking think about before you really elect somebody, because that's goddamn crazy to me. You know?
Yeah.
How serious that shit is, you know?
And how comfortable people are just handing it to anybody. I mean, you know what? Let's even not go that far. What was I gonna say? You know, I just lost it. I had something. I lost it. Go ahead, take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on a couple of shots here, so bear with me.
It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. And I would never want that decision. Some guy made a good point. He's like, what they should do is take the codes for the nuclear arsenal and surgically implant it into, you know, there's a guy who has to hold that shit. That's his job, right? Yeah. Surgically implant it into his heart. So if the president wants to use it, he has to cut that shit out of this guy's heart, physically kill somebody before he launches nukes and kills somebody in another country. You're going to have to get your fucking hands dirty.
Yeah.
Kill, I mean, because mind you, these two people are, you know, that guy has to be, you know, so close to fucking the president at all times. They're probably going to become friendly, you know? If you're the guy with the nuclear football, you better be friendly to the guy, especially if it's implanted in your chest. You know, I'm going to be buying fucking the little mini Obamas the best birthday presents ever. But that's a good point. Make him kill somebody with his bare hands, or, you know, physically kill somebody before he's allowed to shoot nukes and kill somebody else. We should probably do that for declaring war too. You guys want to declare war? All right, drag your fucking buddy out here, kill him. I want to fucking see that you're actually ready to kill somebody before you declare war on anybody. You know?
Yeah, true.
It's just too easy. Somebody said, I'm tired of old men sending young men to die in war. Well, here's a good way to curtail that. Make them actually have to kill somebody. But of course, knowing a lot of the politicians that I know, that probably wouldn't be an issue for these fucking scumbags.
True. I mean, these guys are. I mean, they say one of the biggest things of anybody who has to change politics is you have to be sociopath or a psychopath.
Yeah. Probably sociopath.
Yeah, usually you have to be a psychopath of psychopathic behavior to even crave that position. Because most people would turn it away just because of the responsibility, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that shit. It's ridiculous. But here's another issue I have. Back to the topic of fanboys, even though we kind of left that shit behind.
Yeah, we kind of left it a little bit. Go ahead.
Another hilarious thing that these idiots do is calling out female, especially if they're attractive, female fans as being frauds. All right,
Right.
If you're a fucking fan of a show, don't act like you're anything important. You're looking at something else somebody else created, okay? This has nothing to do with you. If you're a fucking person who made the show, who wrote the show, then you got a reason to be attached, okay? If some woman wants to fucking display her 2 episodes of the show she wanted by dressing up sexy and going to a fucking Comic-Con, guess what, dude? You're no more of a fan than her. You're no more important to the show than she is. Leave it the fuck alone. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if you ask those people, they'd love having these fucking fangirls around.
All day long.
So that's crazy. Like you'll see, I've seen girls post pictures of them like dressed as like Laura Croft. The woman dresses scandalously, okay, for a fucking archaeologist. But she'll dress up, and then there'll be guys posting comments. I bet you don't know anything about Laura Croft. Like, what happened to her parent? Man, shut the fuck up, dude. There's nobody's paying you more because you know more about Laura Croft. Okay, your reasoning of being a fan is no more important than this girl. At least they appreciate. At least she's doing a service for everybody else.
I mean, I agree, and honestly, dude, the fangirls are legit. All right. Here's one of the most painful experiences I had with a personal friend of mine. We're sitting in a room, and this is back when, for those who know and used to watch G4, the gaming channel, back when it was active, there was an awesome show at the time called Attack of the Show. The 2 leads of Attack of the Show were Joel McHale and soon to be, what's her name?
Oh, what is her name? She was fucking gorgeous too.
Yeah. Anyway, he'll look it up.
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn, there you go. So there's Joel McHale and Olivia Munn, who are gorgeous people, but also true to goodness nerd. And the way you know is because if you're a nerd, you can tell based on the flow of conversation of someone whether they know the material or not. That's kind of the difference between someone who just kind of a fan of cartoons and whatnot, and someone who does the research. So I would watch this show, and within the first week of listening to these people talk, I was like, yeah, these guys are nerds. Like Joel McHale, great shape, gelled up hair, looks like the guy that's going to try to, sleep with your girl when you're not around, was a huge World of Warcraft nerd back before World of Warcraft was popular, back when computers, there was no media access point. You had to go through DOS to go through the commands to get into the computer. He was hooked.
Yeah.
So this guy wasn't in it about the aesthetics. So I'm talking to this friend of mine in the middle of the conversation. This friend of mine, I let him know, oh, dude, I love the show. These guys are legit there. And he turns to me and he goes, hey, look, no. He's just an actor. He's reading off a prompt. And I'm like, no, dude, I promise you, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's a guy who actually cares. And the girl, even more. And that was his biggest thing. Like Olivia Munn, absolutely not. I was like, dude, if you know this girl's backstory, the reason they picked her is she's such a nerd. Such a nerd. She knows in-depth things about these comic book characters that she'll bring up in conversation, which aren't like Cliff Notes things you look up. Those are specific things as a fan you need to know. Little things you notice that you point out to people on the fly. It's not anything I would bring up in an interview. And she's bringing those things up in mid-conversation with people who create this material. She knows the stuff. And he turned to me and was like, don't be naive. My heart, man, dropped because I was just sitting there like, just give me the benefit of the doubt knowing that you don't know shit about this material and I do. It's kind of like how I feel when I see politicians talking about global warming doesn't exist, even though if you go to any lecture by geologists or meteorologists in college, they're talking about global warming and it's a real thing. And you have this politician who has no expertise in it telling people it's not real and they listen to him, which I think
Yeah.
we might have covered that on this show before. We're like, again, side note, I think it's a little ridiculous that we don't have an actual representative for all these things in a governing body. If you're going to have a governing body that's going to make decisions on science and medical things, why don't you have a doctor or a scientist up there who knows what they're talking about?
Yeah, dude. And you know another thing that I hear all the time, especially with Bernie Sanders climbing in the polls,
Mhm.
is people talking about what will happen if socialism comes to America, who would fail any test on socialism, communism, or capitalism that they were given. You know, like quit throwing this shit out here like you know what the fuck you're talking about. Like here's the easiest way I could tell you if somebody doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. If they think socialism and communism are exactly the same.
Mhm.
There's a reason they're different, they're listed different, they're categorized differently. There's huge differences. And usually whenever you hear people talk about socialism, what they're really talking about is communism. Oh, you want to take all my stuff away and give it to somebody? You're talking about communism, man. Whenever you see these cute little, fake stories, like a bunch of college students in a class supported socialism, so the teacher took all their grades and averaged them out, and all the hardworking kids. I mean, have you heard the story? It's
Yeah.
it's fucking tired as hell. That's not socialism. That economics professor would have failed to become an economics professor if he thought that was socialism. Okay, not saying I think socialism is the best thing ever. Not saying I think it's the best solution for the fucking the U.S. or anywhere. But what I'm saying is they're totally fucking different. And if you don't understand the difference, you're not qualified to fucking speak on it. You know, all you're saying right now is somebody told me communism is fucking bad. You know, and I think that socialism is the same thing. It's all dragging out the old Red Scare bullshit. You know.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Oh man, we're going off on all kinds of tangents right now. But this takes me on the last one I'm on for this topic. Last tangent. You highlight another problem that I think actually is real. Is the fact that words aren't being respected anymore. There's an appeal. I think with the focus of everybody thinking like English majors and such, unless you're going to be a writer or something like that, or a journalist, are kind of pointless. We miss the reason why words are important. My biggest example of this is the word literally.
Oh yeah.
Everybody over abuses that word. And when you think about it, you kind of think, I mean, it's to the point where they've actually changed the definition of the word because of the way it's being used. But that word matters. That word matters. This is how much that word matters. There's a huge text issue we have in text messages, which would be solved if that word was actually treated the way it's supposed to be treated, used the way it's supposed to be used, not used to exaggerate or to, enhance a story's drama. Like I was literally dying. That's not what that word is meant. What that word was supposed to do is when you guys sending text messages back and forth, for example, and you can't discern what that person means when they say something like, oh, that's unfortunate. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? What is it unfortunate because, they got away with something? Did I do something? When you hear that, people used to kind of go, oh my God, I don't know the context. Is this a positive direction or a negative direction? Literally was meant to say, this is not hyperbole. I actually mean what these words are, Like when you would send a fuck you to somebody and you meant it as humor, you wouldn't put literally. But when you put literally, you were supposed to mean it like, no, I actually want you to go fuck yourself, which would have been really just a strong word to have. But again, it's part of the throwaway culture we have where like we just get entertained and move on so quickly. So
yeah, you know what's sad though? Is
what?
because people started doing that, using literally to emphasize a statement, that is actually including in the dictionary now.
Yeah, that's his definition now. They had to change it recently.
Yep. So it's like, here it is. Literally is also used to emphasize a statement and suggest that it's surprising. I literally had no idea you and Sophie were coming. It's it's kind of sad. I think that is regrettable that things like that change and words just get. What's his name? What's that white chubby comedian all the rage right now? Damn, that's a lot of fucking comedians, isn't it?
I was about to say not Patton Oswalt.
Louis C.K. He said something about how people were like, "Wow, that's hilarious." Like what? That's not hilarious. Means it made you laugh so hard that you nearly went insane. And people throw that shit out there for every stupid little fucking thing ever.
Yep.
You know?
You want to know another word? Fan.
Fan.
This how bad that thing is. We've been doing it the whole show.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. Fanboys should not have the final say so. Just creative wise, it sucks when you have to adhere strictly to the original material. You kind of lose a lot of creativity. Like if Fanboys had their way, like you said, we wouldn't have had Heath Ledger's Joker. And arguably, that's not just the best Joker ever. That's the best character in the movie ever, period, in my book.
Yeah.
So that being said, I was right with you. Right with you. When they announced him as Joker, I was like, this is a terrible mistake. And I'm a very, very much a give everybody a chance guy. And I thought it was awful. I thought it was completely awful. And he killed it. Just completely proved me wrong. So I always give the benefit of the doubt. But I also only give the benefit of the doubt to people that have earned it. So in defense of Fanboys, DC has been failing for a long time in this direction. So they're a little sensitive. Like Marvel has bought itself enough favors now, and Star Wars has done so too, that they can kind of get away with being creative and messing up. But DC can't afford that, man. They're on the verge of risking an entire fan base.
Yeah. Yeah, they could create a whole new one, There could be a whole bunch of people who never would have considered Suicide Squad, who goes to see it because it's an action movie, and bam, they fall in love with it,
Yep, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. What Guardians of the Galaxy did for Marvel.
Yep.
I was a Marvel of the Galaxy reader, and I wasn't a fan by any stretch of the imagination. So when they announced it, I knew the context, the reason for why they were doing it. Which, if you know the story, to get to the end of the story where they're headed, they need them. Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of their opening into going to space and having a competitive advantage. Because without them, there's no reason a bunch of human beings should be able to just go to space and trash cultures that have been more advanced than they are for centuries. So
yeah.
So it's there's a good reason for it, but you're right. I do need a director that can take creative risks, kind of like we saw with the Dark Knight Rises, or the Dark Knight anyway.
Yeah, and I do enjoy, which I don't know how close this is going to come to. The thing I loved about the Dark Knight is they put as much realism as they could. Beyond it being fucking gritty and all that fucking bullshit, they put as much realism as they could. And I can't tell, at least from the promo videos, that that's what's happening with Suicide Squad, but I hope that it is. There's still some mystical bullshit in there,
Yeah.
Kind of has to be.
Has to be. You're telling me a story about a human being that can fall from a skyscraper onto his back on a car and live through it.
Yep.
You better have some tangential bullshit explanation for that.
Yeah, and to the Dark Knight, that wasn't all 100% real. Dude breaks his back and heals using a rope.
Using a rope and push-ups.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic that. My wife's a nurse. I didn't take the test myself, but
even better, he's a guy who has been a multi-billionaire for most of his life, and his mansion gets repoed in a day. That dude has no assets or attorney or nothing. Just one day he's rich, the next day they're trying to evict him from his mansion. Get the hell out of here, man.
Yeah. And like nobody knew that the stock exchange got attacked. No way in hell would they just go, oh yeah, any fucking things listed during that time were totally legit. Really? There's some dudes on a motorcycle with a mask on that says something a little different,
In the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
But So yeah, you need the mystical stuff, but I know what you mean. Nolan's run, the reason, despite not liking the other two movies as much as everybody does, the reason Nolan's run is legendary is of every iteration of superhero character we've had of this caliber. We're talking Captain America, Avengers, all that. He was the first guy to take this mythical character and seriously consider him as a real person.
Yeah.
Up until then, every other thing had just been kind of, they might as well have started the movie with "In the Land of Make Believe" and then go off from there. Every other movie was like that.
Yeah.
Nolan is the one that, yeah, Nolan started. I mean, look at the first few Hulk movies, you know? At the perfect time, he gets angry, but at the imperfect time, when he needs to be angry, he can't. Ooh, what a crazy coincidence in the land of make believe. After Nolan, it was like, that tumbler, I could see how it would defeat things. It's not just some fancy car with a rocket, it would climb over other cars.
Yep.
That hoverboard, that hover flame that he has. Yeah, I could see it carving through the city, unlike a jet, like it was in all the other movies and comic books, just making 90-degree turns at buildings,
Yep.
between buildings. He considered it like in a real world scenario, how would this guy works? Without them, I don't think you get the Iron Man and the Batman and the Captain Americas and the new level of realism we get in these kind of superhero movies.
Yeah. It did good, and I'm hoping they keep going with it.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I won't see it. It's not gonna happen, but I'll still go see it.
Anyways, what's your topic, Nick?
My topic is a little easier to breathe through. So, everybody heard about the Oscars, or was it the Golden Globes? Am I mixing them up?
That was Oscars.
Oscars. All right. Everybody heard the nomination of the Oscars, but what most people either know or don't know, I don't know which one of what the percentage is. There was a little bit of an incident with minorities, specifically African Americans, being a little too concerned with the whiteness of the awards, because the awards were a little too white. Now, in defense of the Academy, factually, if you're working by the percentage, they're on par for not being racist or anything like that. Because 13% of the population and 12 point, a high, almost 13% is getting Oscar nods. But I don't know exactly why that correlates one-to-one directly with how the awards should be, because that still doesn't take into account the amount of movies on the market and the movies that are successful.
Well, there is another little thing that was left out of there too, and I mean, this might be an issue too, is 12.5% of the Oscar wins since 1995, which is a convenient date.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how that was picked.
Yeah.
Or
probably the first African American to receive one.
Yeah, maybe. There. But only 6.5% of actors and actresses in the Screen Actors Guild are black.
Yeah.
So they're actually being overrepresented by the Oscars. Now, you could say they're being underrepresented in the Screen Actors Guild. That's the whole other story.
Yeah, but that wasn't the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, but and I'm not talking about over a span of time. There's always been an issue with the secrecy of movie industry critiquing. Always been an issue. It was such a big deal in the past. There was an entire TV show about it called The Critic. That was actually pretty hilarious and did a great kind of satire on who are these individuals that get to decide which movies are amazing and are not. Why don't we just put it to a vote so the general population can, say what is or what is great. If Harold and Kumar, a trashy, crass, crude movie, ends up being a favorite, like 90% favored favored by 90% of the population, you wouldn't see that thing pass through the Oscars because it's not Oscar worthy. well, what the hell is Oscar worthy? And that's the problem that this whole thing is starting from. No one knows. There's like a cabal of judges that judge the thing behind closed doors. And as long as you're going to have that secrecy, you're going to have people concerned when an issue like what happened this year occurs, which was a bunch of movies got selected. Not all of them were white. There were some black movies. Some were skipped over that should have been selected. Like there are two movies that everybody's talking about, Concussion and Beast and No Nation, which was a Netflix movie, which are absolutely Oscar contenders. Absolutely, by several markers. You know, if you're looking at past winners. Nope, never came up. And one of the few movies, which is one of the most loved movies of the year, Creed, I haven't even seen it, but one of the loved movies of the year, and everybody was raving about the main character's performance, who is black. The main character isn't even the one who got the Oscar nod. It was the supporting character, Stallone.
It's Stallone, though. Come on.
Supporting character. like this movie is amazing, not because of the main character. Get the hell out of here. He drove that whole movie. It was like most of screen time. Anyway, so this you add that big a skip in, like, well, hey, this movie is revered by everybody, and the lead actor didn't even get a nod, but the supporting actor did. What the heck? Everybody loved this movie. And secrecy in judging, you're gonna have people questioning it. It's gonna happen, whether it's justified or not. You open that door. It's kind of like I got into a conversation, and Alone in the Dark was a witness to this, about using the N-word. You know, like who would use the N-word? Why? The person was asking me, why do African Americans use the N-word so often, and why can't other people use it? To which I said, you're absolutely right. African Americans shouldn't be losing it. You're absolutely right. But we shouldn't be cursing either, and we shouldn't be interested in fart jokes either. We are. You know, we like certain things that we like. And nobody is saying you can't use the N-word. But here's what you need to understand.
Nobody.
Based on your no. And I literally mean it, nobody, but I'll explain what I mean by the nobody. I know obviously some people don't want that word to be used, but here's the why. Because even though they say nobody is using it, black people are using it, and some people are okay with it. Some people that still think nobody should be using it are okay with black people using it. And the logic is this. You can use the word. Absolutely. But the problem is, based on your race, I'm going to have to do a little bit of mental math immediately. If you're a black guy using the N-word on me, obviously you don't mean to make a play of an insult of an ownership slave kind of dynamic. Obviously, because we're African Americans, we would have been the slaves. So even if that's what you mean, most people would be more eager to let it go because it wouldn't make sense in the context. If you're Asian or Hispanic or Filipino, still doesn't make sense in the context. There isn't a history of slavery behind those two races. So even if you were using it in that regard, my math would still give you the benefit of the doubt because it doesn't make sure in the dynamics. If you are white, unfortunately, let's say you mean it completely as a joke. When you're living in an era, an age, and an era when there's still a KKK out there still to deal with, I have to hesitate just for my personal safety on how you're using that word. It's like, and the example I use with the individual is like, look, we all know that the uniform doesn't make the Nazi, right? You don't wear a uniform, a Nazi uniform, and you're automatically a Nazi, even though that's how a lot of people treat it. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's just an item of clothing. If you're warm and I put a Nazi jacket on you, it should be a visual dictation on your life and beliefs, obviously. But with Nazis running around and being a real thing, unlike a boogeyman, I have to consider that you just might be, you know, just because if I overlook that and you are, that's a mistake I can't recover from immediately if you're a real Nazi. So I told him, I was like, look, I understand your point of view, because his thing was like, it always seems to be black people bringing it up. I was like, I understand your point of view, but you got to remember, there's still people alive today who had dogs sicked on them by white people. We don't have that much of a gap between that history and us yet, that we can always give the white race the benefit of the doubt in that kind of conversation if we don't know the individual. Maybe 100 more years from now, we can get away with that. But right now, there are people that still remember seeing their parents get beat up or something. Like, I have a completely racist experience cataloged in my lifetime. To me, that's too close for me to try to give white people the benefit of the doubt if I don't know you when you're using that kind of language, you know? Or you're
Yeah.
making decisions that seem to exclude my race. It's the wound is still too close for me to go, I don't know if you're not doing it because of that. So,
Well, and I don't really understand. I think you need to plug your headphones back in.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
But I don't really understand why. That's a weird thing to say. It's only black people bring this up. Well, yeah. I mean, why would white people care? Like, I mean, why would people not being excluded care about exclusion of
Exclusion, yeah.
another people? Now, there is people out there, of course, that do care. But at the end of the day, I don't, and I see it happen a lot. The tumble arenas and stuff like that, who want to speak for other races and how they're being trampled upon. You know, I don't think that's really your place unless you're a member of that community. You can support them 100%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you see somebody saying there's a lot of people, a lot of support for that Oscar boycott right now, by various races, but you can't lead that charge if you're not a member of that group. Feminists do that a lot, and I think we've talked about feminists before. I think that's a big issue of why feminists are one of the most white dominant fucking groups outside of the KKK. Like, if you see any feminist rally, this and that, it is 90% plus white people, white women, or white anything, white guys, white women, almost 100%. And I think that's because it's really hard for an actual trampled upon, which I definitely think women have their issues in the U.S. and especially across the world. Okay.
Yep.
But compared to the problems minority races, African Americans have in the U.S., white women's problems are not comparable at all. Okay. And I think that's probably a big reason why they don't have a lot of African American women or men in the freaking feminists. Because if you're a black woman, you're sitting there going, man, I hope this cop doesn't fucking decide to fuck with me today. I hope this apartment doesn't fucking ban me because I'm black. I hope this job doesn't turn me around because I'm too street.
Yep.
Okay? I hope my son comes home and doesn't get shot to death. You have real problems, okay? When you go to your feminist rally and they're going, oh my God, that Robin Thicke song really, really triggered me, you might go, you know what, I got more important shit to do. I need to solve the problems I have in the U.S. by being black before I worry about your fucking dinky ass problems for being a woman, okay? And women are held out of a lot of shit, like a lot of CEOs, not women. Women make up over 50% of the population. I think only 20% of them are CEOs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Firemen, shit like that. Combat troops, they've been struggling to get in there. But you know what also women don't make up large percentages of? Miners. 97% of miners are men. Garbage truck workers. 95% men. There's a lot of real shitty things out there you don't have to worry about because you're a woman, That doesn't really happen with minority races. I would say probably these or maybe not minors, mostly because those are a lot of freaking middle of the country jobs. But garbage truck workers, I would think they're probably overrepresented there.
Yeah.
Practically at least 50% of the garbage men I know are black. Blacks only make up 13% of the fucking population. Yeah. Black men only 6.5%, or a little less. Probably closer to 6%. So that's crazy to me. I don't understand why that argument. Why are black people the only ones bringing this up? Holds any ground? Of course they're the only ones bringing it up. They're the ones with the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Why are people who get freaking screwed over at Walmart the only people bringing up getting screwed over at Walmart? Well, you know what? That's probably because they have something to complain about. If I go there, I have a fucking hot chick checking me out, all my shit's good, what am I going to complain about? That's a confirmation bias, Why are women the only ones complaining about pain during childbirth? It's ridiculous to me. You know.
and
Now,
and
I
and
do think there's a definite problem, like you were saying, with like Sly getting the fucking award rather than the main actor. But I
yeah,
have heard before that the Oscars almost doesn't really work with how good you did in that position. It's almost like when you're owed.
yeah.
Okay, it's this guy's turn to get it now. We need to find a reason for him to get it. Okay, he was in this movie. This movie did good. Bam, give it to him.
But see,
You know,
that has to go with the secrecy thing. You
yeah,
know, if you got rid of if you could give them the fans, which is another thing that to me that just tells me like the Oscar don't really give a damn about their fans or whoever under 40 would consider themselves an Oscar fan. But if you respect your fans, you give them a criteria for them to go off of, something. So at least they know, hey, we're not just kind of circle jerking back here, unless you are. Then this absolutely makes sense, which I think is what they're doing. I think you're right. I think it's just there's a whole political system of how you get your Oscar and yada yada yada.
yeah, because I've seen people do amazing performances in movies and not get shit, and then like 5 years later do a mediocre fucking performance in a shitty movie and suddenly get an Oscar. So
Hmm.
I think there's a lot more politics behind rather than just racism. I'm not gonna. I of course because of how secretive the whole thing, I can't say that it's not. You know, I mean it's a definite issue. You know, it's a definite
Yeah.
problem to be raised.
I mean, I mean, I also made another point in that conversation where I told him, look, man, you I feel like one of the things that doesn't happen from the other side of the fence, because I do agree. Obviously, there's a little bit of a race thing, but I think this is one of those problems that's the least important of aspect of that debate. If you're mad because the Oscars aren't, it's like people that are still watching the Miss America pageant. It's like if you're mad about anything that happens on the Miss America pageant, it's a Miss America pageant. You should walk away knowing that. This shouldn't be that big of an issue. But
Stop fucking watching it, please.
exactly, there's that's especially the Miss America. Like the Oscars and stuff, I understand, but the Miss America is just to me like we have the internet, right? You could Google. Wait, I'm not taking any of those titles seriously because I can Google 5 chicks that are way hotter than the winner, no
Right.
matter how hot the winner is. So why are you still whatever? But the point I was telling him is I think one of the things that also happens is the guys that are kind of doing this, they forget that as much as they consider white people in quotation marks the problem, they're also the solution. You know, it takes a lot as a culture to say, hey, we have a really huge, really unfair advantage, and we think that sucks. We're gonna go ahead and either help you boost up or handicap ourselves to make this better. That's that's crazy. And this is one of the few cultures that has one of the advantage of always being the aggressor or the dominant person in the historical context is there are no stereotypes linked to you. You controlled all the lore, so there's no lore linked to you, so you can become anything you want to become in culture. The examples I use, for example, of these biases that kind of hold people down were like when people say stuff like Asians are good at math. You think to yourself, oh my God, no, that's a positive stereotype. I would love to have that stereotype. No, that's awful because now if you're not good at math and you're Asian and you're talking to, oh, let's say a job and somehow it's revealed you're not good at math, that shouldn't really matter as long as you're qualified for the job. But now, just because of that existing bias, that stays in the head. That obviously is going to influence the person talking to you a little bit, just because there's a stupid stereotype or one of the more common stereotypes. African Americans are good dancers or good athletes. You go on a date with a girl, you suddenly can't dance or you're not that good at sports. Say what you want, but I'm telling you, there are white women that have told me that I'm not black enough because I'm singing, Johnny Cash. Like what? It's Johnny Cash. Why would I? That's an amazing artist. Why would it matter what race I am to like Johnny Cash? So I think it also matters that it should be given credit that there are people out there on that side. So we should try not to just kind of blanket and say stuff like white people are the problem. No, there are plenty of white people that are doing amazing work trying to fix this problem.
Yeah. Eh, we'll see how far they get.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, man.
You know,
People
and
like
and I don't know.
people
I've
like
never
Bush out
cared
there make.
about the Oscars.
Mhm.
Okay, my dad used to say is kind of a ridiculous thing. It's actors giving out awards to themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
I
true.
can see the point, but I mean, if you think about it, military people getting a fucking medals, that's military people giving awards to other military people. That really fits the criteria.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that actors, especially ones that are eligible to get an Oscar, are really the class we really need to give more benefits to. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they are compensated more than well enough. Okay,
Yeah.
and these Oscars only have as much give a shit or as much power as people are willing to give them. If you don't give a shit about it, I don't give a shit about it. I don't think there's any issue with fixing the Oscars. I think that it's a fucking ancient thing that needs to go away. It's
True.
why anybody gives a shit about that. And I would love to see the demographics of the people who watch the Oscars, because I guarantee they're getting older and older and older.
No, they're already old. They're they're the oldest of the old, the same people that watch, any award ceremony. Like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a great show to watch just because you see amazing bands perform. Same demographic though who watch it. Nobody should be walking the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because at this point we only have two metrics for things. We have A, do people like it? You'll know because Facebook, Twitter, Yahoo, they'll all tell you immediately. You'll open your front page and you'll see freaking tons of flooded information about it just based on sales figures and people's comments. So
Yeah.
we already have a rating system easily accessible to everybody every day. We don't need this is the remnants of a bygone era when there was no openly accessible rating system that everybody, even the poorest in society, could afford to access.
That's crazy, man. I
And
don't know.
that's how these things do. They take time. They
That's
take
my
time.
fix. My fix for it is get rid of it. I'm sick of it.
There's still some guy out there with an old tube TV, dude. Until that guy goes away, you know, everybody is flat screen TV. But I still walk into a house occasionally. I'm like, oh, you have a 43-inch tube TV that weighs about 500 pounds.
Yep.
Why? You could get a flat screen bigger than that for 300 right down the street, right? But
Jesus.
there's always going to be those remnants that want bygone ways and old eras and stuff. So I mean that's just wanted to basically say, guys, it's not that big a deal. It really isn't. These actors are fine. The representation is it's not like this is the 17th year or the 15th or the 5th year in a row that this has happened. It's just 2 years, whatever.
I will give another shout out to what's her name? Dark
Oh
Skin
yeah,
Aunt Viv.
yeah. What's her name? I'll look it up right now. But yeah, yeah. For those that don't know, Jada Pinkett Smith uh, came out and had a little bit of a statement about it. So her and what's his name, Spike Lee, are boycotting the Oscars um, because of this. And a young lady who played the role of Aunt Viv in the old Will Smith show.
Dark skin that Viv.
Yeah, dark skin in Her name is Janet Hubbard. Um, came out and made a whole statement about not really worrying too much about the Smiths because it wasn't that big a deal. Like they're trying to incite a big fight with an institution that she basically says is not gonna hurt them. They have no dog in this fight. Really, all they have to lose is accolades. But any young actor or actress that joins that cause now puts himself on a list in case, hey, they want to become a movie actor, they want to go into a big movie. This will be one of those criterias where somebody, because remember, these people have to audition, and it's a matter of perspective how they perform. So now you're going to have all those people judging the performances, having a bias against them because these are the young actors that dare to fight our bosses and the institution.
Yeah. And
So,
she said it real rough. I love
yeah.
her name though. Blacktress Janet Hubble.
Yes. So it was a great statement by someone great. I still think it's caring too much about something nonsensical, but as far as one who could have said it, yes, she's one of the few people in the African American acting community that can pull this off, that can critique the Smiths and be taken seriously. Because she was a legend before the Smiths showed up. And turns out she actually has a history when she tried to do the same thing and asked the Smiths to step up and defend him. Back in the day, the
Defend her,
Smiths
yeah.
never, yes, to step up and defend her. Back in the day, the Smiths stayed out of it because they didn't want it to compromise their own personal success. So all she's saying is, don't go out there inciting a fight that's going to cause other people to sacrifice what you weren't willing to sacrifice for me.
Yeah. She makes a hell of a point.
Yeah, and it's a great point. It's a great point. It sucked all the momentum out of Jada's point because,
Another good point she made is, why the fuck is Jada talking for Will?
yeah,
Why isn't he out here?
yep.
So, I don't know, man. You got anything to talk about there, Cold Conscience?
That answers that
Now
question.
that you show up.
Well, I mean, I do have, y'all don't send me invites no more.
Oh, is that what that is? Is that what that is?
Him on his cheap ass iPhone. He's still acting like it's fucking 2005 and shit on a goddamn iPhone. He's blaming this on me.
Everybody else functions but you.
Not
Huh?
only did I send you an invite, but I actually had to manually fucking do it because the auto invite wasn't working. So
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Anyway, I do. I mean, it's not really nothing to talk about. I'm a week away from California now.
oh shit.
I think so. Let the fuckery begin. No, but I'm a week away. I ended up telling that girl that I was leaving, and she said, "Well, when are you coming back?"
I don't think you realize what I just told you, bitch.
Yeah, God bless her soul. So that means that I'm in. That's what Slow Chemical said. That the fact she's asking when you're coming back means that you're in. So with my my charm, I should be laid at least by like the summer.
That's a long time.
My bad, by her.
Okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure by
Gotcha.
somebody else
I
when
was
I get
about
there.
to say the summer.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, it's a good thing you're optimistic, buddy. I'd hate to see what your
Yeah, I
pessimism
mean,
looks like.
I'm
By
pretty sure
next year, God willing, the scribes say I'm good.
I'm pretty sure I'll be laid by somebody else when I get out there. With my charm and my blackness. But
Your blackness more than your charm, man. But yeah.
yeah, well then there you go. Whatever they want the BBC or not, I really don't care. So we'll see. This is gonna be an experience, and yeah, it's hard to believe it's this close.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You think you're ready for it, or is this shit just creeping up on you?
Come on, man. It's
I
hilarious.
don't even know what that means. I don't know if that's a positive or negative. I don't even know.
I haven't even packed not one thing of clothing. No, I packed a lot of clothing. I believe I'm ready. Something different. This weather here in Baltimore is 20-something degrees. So
Yeah, we don't have that going on.
Yeah, so for what I've heard. So yeah, I'm kind of ready to get the fuck up out of here. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's crazy.
Just a little bit. Just a touch.
I almost. You know what I think's gonna change? Maybe we have one more good episode out of you. Then after that, I just can't wait to hear the depression in your voice. Just the fucking, what do I call it? The Jonathan Esther going home voice. Let me. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Dragging his guitar behind him. I'm sure it'll be
Ah,
fine, man. I'm sure it'll be fine.
hey, listen, don't make me regret this decision.
You haven't started regretting it yet? No. Well, okay.
Not,
That'll
not.
come soon enough.
Uh, Jesus Christ. And I was doing great. Um, yeah. Now I'm not prepared, ladies and gentlemen. For all the families, I'm not prepared now.
Hey, man. I think those beautiful little white women are gonna help clear that right up for you.
I don't know, man, because I'm gonna have to be on a fucking healthy diet of sleep. Because I'm gonna be so broke by the time I get out there. Not by the time I get out there, but after a while. So it's gonna be a
Soon
lot.
after you get out there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of goddamn sleeping. I can tell you that. What you had for dinner last night? Sleep. Just
Don't
more
worry,
and more
man.
sleep.
A fucking Jonathan Esther here, every time I ask for money, he says he's broke. But then I see him going to all these fucking cool places, hanging out at the bars, eating sushi, shit like that. I don't know, man. Seems
When
like
did I eat sushi?
being broke out there is pretty fucking legit.
When did I eat sushi, man?
All the time, man, all the
Dude,
time.
I wish, man. What I wouldn't give for some sushi right now. I'm eating free pizza from last night today. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, man. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay?
I don't believe none of that.
One of us, ladies and gentlemen.
One of this. One of this.
One of us is the band name. And hooray! It is.
That's
I'm sorry.
a bitch. Oh my God, we're doomed. We're
Yeah,
doomed.
that was the pitch. That was the best pitch I have.
One of this, ladies and gentlemen.
One of us
Tell your friend.
all black band.
All black brand. I'll take that.
Yeah, all black brand, all black band. Pretty much there's a lot of black people in this band. It's playing a lot of instruments you probably shouldn't be playing.
Even the guitars and the amps are black.
Even the guitars and the amps are black. I
Doggone.
made my strings black. So
Doggone power movement. All right. It seems like that wraps it up for today. Y'all have any parting shots?
no, I'm excited. Let's get it going. I'm really excited.
I got one.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Shit.
And I can't remember the freaking word for it, okay? But there's a word
It is.
that means
Oh, Lord.
economy of words, okay?
Sparseness? No. Economy of words specifically. I don't know.
It's something specific. And where it hails from is actually Spartans back in the day.
Yeah.
They were well known for talking a lot of shit with the fewest amount of words.
Yeah.
Okay?
Spartan. That is actually it. He's very Spartan. He speaks very
Yeah,
That's the correct word.
there's something else that I know that works too, but there's something else that it's not Spartan, but it's based off the freaking Spartans.
All right.
Americans need to fucking learn this, okay? And I know this sounds ridiculous coming from me on the fucking show where all we do is talk shit all night. But one of the worst things that wears me out is when somebody will tell me something that the conversation could be over in 2 sentences, and they just drag it out as long as fucking possible. And I'll give you an example. The reason this stuck to me is because I was woken up today, okay, out of a beautiful fucking sleep. I'm pretty sure I was dreaming about banging fucking, what's that bitch's name? Condoleezza Rice. But I get woken up to my freaking one of my apartment managers calling me, which I love my apartment managers. They take good care of me. It's one of the reasons I'm here is because they're good people, okay? But this lady calls me and she tells me, because we asked for them to come spray for freaking bugs in the kitchen, right? We saw some bugs, goddamn pet food attracted some bugs. So get the guy here to freaking spray, right? So she calls me to tell me, hey, we need you guys to clear out all the stuff in the cabinets so the guy could come in and spray. Okay, all right, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. Okay, and he really wants to get in there to get the thing sprayed out, because he said it won't be 100% done until he said we'll spray in the cabinets too. Well, all right, sounds good. Yeah, and also, after he's done spraying out the cabinets, you're gonna have to leave that stuff out for a while and then wipe them down, and then you put the stuff back in. He really needs the cabinets cleared out. This shit went on for a good 3 minutes, okay? until she got irritated because everything she was saying to me, I was repeating back to her. Okay, I was in a bad mood, just getting woken up. So yeah, just make sure the cabinets are cleaned out. Like, hold on a second. Before the guy comes here, do I need to clean out the cabinets? Well, yeah, but why? Why do I have to get everything out of the cabinets? I got stuff in there. You guys know I got stuff in there. Well, yeah, and now we're battling back and forth. I'm gonna drag it. If you want to waste my fucking time, I'm gonna waste as much of your fucking time as I can. People, okay, I understand. We have one of the fucking most complex languages in the world. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I talked to a linguist once, and we're like the only Class 5 language in the world for various reasons. Okay, there's a bunch of shit in the English language that doesn't make any sense unless you grew up with the English language.
Yeah.
Okay, there's things called fossil words in the English language where these words only exist because they exist in certain sayings. Like run amok. Do you ever hear anybody say the word amok outside of run amok?
No.
The door's ajar. Ajar, that's the only time a fucking ajar is used. Anything else could be part way open. You're not going to fucking say ajar. Door jar. So there's a lot of fucking interesting things in the English language. Don't waste these fucking words. All that would have taken, hey, we need you to clear out your cabinets for the bug guy. Make sure you wipe it down before you put everything back in. Got it. Done. Done. Okay? Quit wasting everybody's time. I don't think I'm fucking important than anybody else. I don't think my time's more important than anybody else's. Okay? You should value your time. Don't waste everybody's fucking life by wasting their fucking time dragging on useless fucking bullshit. Okay? That's it. That's what I got.
Tell us how you really feel. Really.
Tired of that shit, man. Tired of it.
I got a quick parting shot, and it's this slow clap. This goes out to the marketing director that released the Benghazi movie on Martin Luther King's birthday. You the real MVP, dog.
Damn.
That's so I have been privy to, for those that don't know me very well, in my happier moments when I need a come down, a depressant for all of this joy, just to keep me level, I like to go to Fox News and just watch it for a couple of minutes and fact check anything they say. So that always kind of brings me back to reality and lets me know that the world is not perfect yet. But anyway, Fox News has spent the better part of this whole Martin Luther King weekend trying to explain to us why the Benghazi movie is awesome, why it doesn't suck, and why even though it's not completely truthful, it matters because it proves that this government is corrupt. Which I don't get how those two theories can live in the same sentence, not being truthful but telling the truth. Like the Benghazi movie is a Jesus parable or something. I don't know. But anyway,
here's another fun one. We're talking about ridiculous shit from the government. Did you see this?
Hold on.
Just in case people can't read it, it's a little poster. It shows two cute little babies, even multiracial too. They even went out on this, okay? And it says, "Hey Flint, it's safe to wash. Lead in bathwater will not soak into your skin fast or at high levels. Unfiltered warm tap water is okay for showers and baths for you and your kids. Just don't let kids drink the bathwater when they play in the tub. Yuck." Now, I seriously thought this poster was fake. Somebody made this shit up, making fun of the whole situation in Flint. If everybody hasn't heard, Flint decided to change their water supply into their own fucking river to save some money. Along with doing that, they refused to put in additives that would have protected the freaking citizens. Would have cost $100 a day for the additives to protect the fucking pipelines so lead didn't get into all their citizens. And then they constantly lied about it when people, private investigators or, private fucking researchers went in and said, hey, there's a bunch of lead in this water, don't let people drink it. They let their citizens get poisoned. Now, lead poisoning, I don't know if you guys know, is permanent. You don't get on lead poisoned.
Yeah.
Okay, that shit puts you up for life.
At least you get some checks, though.
Yeah, they get some checks.
Is that worth it?
some
Jesus.
fucking retarded kids. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they've cashed that. But this poster was sent out by the fucking governor's office to the citizens, telling them to bathe their babies in this lead-containing water. Just so you guys know, no, don't fucking do that, okay? Multiple issues. Me, as an adult, if you pour leaded water on my skin, yeah, I'm not going to absorb much, okay? Like, if you pour it on my arm, this and that. But there's tissues on your body, such as your eyelids, your lips, your ears, your ass, that will absorb
And
it, especially if you're a
as
baby.
Wolf of Wall Street taught us, your butthole.
Yep. And if anybody in their life has given a baby a bath, they're gonna fucking drink some of that shit. Okay?
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah.
fucking swallow it. To this day, my daughter's fucking 6 now, and I have a hard time. Stop putting this fucking water at your baby in your goddamn mouth. Okay? Kids are fucking disgusting. So again, Flint, in order to save $100 a day, $36,500 a year, has now permanently damaged, I think, 40,000 citizens?
Yeah.
The damage done to their fucking pipelines is going to be, in the hundreds of thousands, not millions. The healthcare costs going to be millions. Okay?
The only thing
$100 a day. Wow, thanks, guys.
The only thing I always wonder when I hear these stories is, does the government? If I wish I had the power to kind of verify things in these kind of, like, be an investigator, because my first thing would be, hey, okay, I need to go to everybody who passed this legislation's house and check and see if they have a filtration system in the house water. Because if they do, they immediately go to jail. I wouldn't even need to debate a verdict. You don't even have to explain to me that that was there before you passed the ruling. If I go to your house and you have a filtration system running through your house, not just like your faucet or anything, yeah, you go to jail. Because I'm just going to assume you knew what you were doing, you knew the danger, and you protected yourself and fucked everybody over.
I don't know.
Even if I don't, the odds are too good. You got to go.
I don't know if a regular filtration system takes out lead. I think you gotta distill that shit, but boil it, let it evaporate, put it back down to water. But I think I heard something about the governor or the people who made that decision. I think the mayor do not live in the area affected by that.
Of course not. That's the number one thing that's guaranteed when you hear legislation. It's like when people get all mad about, like, no, we need to be, look at these congressmen fighting for our rights to have guns and yada yada yada. Hey, you know what? Why don't you go to their government building with a gun, see what happens?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not allowed in. What? We should be able to take guns everywhere. That's what the guy who's not allowing you in that building in with guns says.
Yeah, it's a little crazy to me. It's one of those letting a dime hold up a dollar situations,
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for me. That's it.
All right, guys. Let's shut this shit down. We'll see you guys next week. Remember, I'm going to post in the comments of this video, and it's on Dare to Disagree. Donate to Slow Chemicals Mom. She's doing a 39-mile walk.
39.
39 fucking miles.
30 nizzles. Like, from your job to your home to your job again type.
And I don't know if you guys have seen Mr. Slow Chemical. He's a big guy. I don't know how she's walking anyways after giving birth to that fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Is it too late to say sorry now?
All right, guys. This has been Alone in the Dark.
This has been Jonathan Nestor.
Cold conscience.
We'll see you guys next week.
Suicide Squad.
So